go. Hey guys, have you ever heard somebody say, trading is easy? Just follow these steps and you'll make a fortune. It sounds tempting, right? But what if I told you that this belief might be the very thing that's keeping you from your success? Today, we're going to expose the hard truth behind this dangerous myth that's been misleading traders for just too long. Hey, welcome to Trading Truths, where we shine the light of the realities of the market and equip you with the tools to navigate the market successfully. Hi, I'm Dennis Wilborn, founder of Autopilot Trading, and as always, we're here to help you break and debunk the myths in the market. So I'm joined today with every Monday, Mike and I get together. We just, we talk about trading, we talk about the myths, we talk about all that kind of stuff. Mike is a seasoned trader and the mastermind behind Mara Wealth. So Mike, as always, it's a great to have you with us. Or not, you're not with us, but to be here doing this with you. Sorry about that. I have a cold. I'm not thinking very well. But Mike, we have a very special guest today who is a good friend of yours, and hopefully he'll become a good friend of mine. Would you like to introduce him?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Dennis, for that intro. Well, with us today is the man in the middle here, Adam Sarhan. Adam and I go way, way back. He's a self-taught student of the market, similar to myself. His personal retirement account was up over 1,000% between 2016 running through today. He's also the #1 best-selling author of this book right here, which I've made tons and tons and tons of notes on, Psychological Analysis. We'll be talking about some of the topics in this book, and we'll also be debunking several trading myths with Adam's help. So, Adam, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Just a quick note to clarify: it was up almost 2,000%. It's just shy of 2,000%, but we're almost there. Yeah.
Now, is that a retirement account, Adam, or is that your retirement account?
It's my primary retirement. Every $1 turned into just about, I think we're at 18-ish now, somewhere in that range last I checked.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I saw your last write-up on that. It was at 17. So we have to update our information about you then. And so anyway, hey, Adam, before we get into the details, I know you've had some remarkable experiences, both as a self-taught trader, but as also in your interactions with top money managers. You've seen firsthand how retail traders can not only compete with the professionals, but sometimes even outshine them. It sounds like, you're definitely outshining them. And so I asked you a question, as we get into the myth number 1, which is, it's myth number 3, because we're going to save myth number 1, which is it's easy to trade, for the closer to the end. And so we're going to go in inverse order. Myth number 1, only professional investors can beat the market. So what's the secret sauce?
Yeah, there's a few things here, Dennis and Mike as well, that we want to keep in mind. Number 1, it comes down to your own mindset, which, Mike, you've done a phenomenal job of, which I've got your book. It's up on my bookshelf as well. That people have to understand that accountability, transparency, structure are certain things that are the golden thread to being successful in life. It doesn't matter what endeavor you're doing. If I want to be the best basketball player like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods hitting golf balls, somebody I think went up to Tiger Woods one day and he goes, "Oh man, you're so lucky, or you're so talented." So Tiger gets up in his face and he's like, "All right, show me your hands." And he puts out his hands like this, the guy, and he doesn't see any counts. He's like, "I wake up every day at 4 a.m., hit the golf ball every day until my hands bleed." And he shows him his hands. He's like, "You don't want to be as good as me. If you did, you'd do the work." So it's one of those things, gentlemen, where if you have structure and you get this, I always joke around, nobody gets a 6-pack by accident. right? But if you do the sit-ups, so to speak, and you eat healthy and you work out and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you have a much higher probability of getting that six-pack, achieving that result that you want, beating the market, becoming the number one golfer, basketball player, whatever the case may be. But it all comes down to one word, and it's structure. In this business, most people lack structure. They lack discipline. There's nobody, quote unquote, grading them. Here's a thing that I just used with a few folks I work with. High school. I'm assuming most people listening to this graduated high school. Well, how do high schools work anywhere in the world? Simple. There's structure. There's a schedule. This is all very simple, but very powerful because it works. Just about anybody with a competent brain can go into high school in grade 9, come out grade 12 with a degree in 4 years. Why? Because the beginning of every year, school starts now in August in Florida. Today's the first day of school. Whether it's after Labor Day in the Northeast or whenever it is, anywhere you are, school has a certain start time, a certain end time. Students are very clear on their schedule, on their structure. If you show up to math class Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 10, guess what? You're just doing math. You're not doing science. You're not doing PE. You're not doing art. You're doing math. And then you have a 5-minute break. You get your, to your next class. You get your tuchus to the next class. And then you're doing history. And then you're doing science. And then so on and so forth. At the end of the 4 years, actually, there's even benchmarks across the way. At the end of the quarter, you get a quarterly progress report. End of the semester, you get grades. You get A, B, C, so on. You're constantly measuring your success, and you're making another great word, progress. So at the end of year 1, the freshman graduates 9th grade, then 10th grade. All they have to do is show up and be awake and present. Pay attention. Another powerful thing, be in the moment. So when you take these disciplines and these lessons from life, which I started from less than nothing, so I know I don't know. That's my greatest skill. So I've got one job, learn, right? So if I can learn, that's literally the secret to my success, so to speak, is just learn, be humble and learn and learn and learn. And when you're wrong, be wrong small. When you're right, be right big. So when you learn that it comes down to structure, let's take that timeless discipline in any other area of life and apply it to trading. I'll ask this to the listeners. How many of you have a structure when it comes to planning your trades? How many of you take the time to analyze risk before the market opens over the weekend? How many of you plan out your stocks, entries, exits, risk, when you have open positions, drawdowns, portfolio heat, all these concepts of the work? How many of you are doing the intellectual sit-ups? And not just doing them once, consistently every single day, week, month, quarter, year, so on and so forth. And then learning from your mistakes. That's another big part of this. So most people don't have structure. They don't have accountability. It's easy. I lost a bunch of money trading today. Nobody knows, not even my wife, my kids, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my dad. Nobody knows. Doesn't matter. It's my own. I'm going to bury that right under the rug. What do most people do with their problems? They bury them. They don't face them. What happens if you do that? It compounds L's or losses, right? We want to compound W's. We want to compound wins. So again, just studying successful people in other areas of life, taking those timeless principles, applying them to trading is really most of what I do.
I love that analogy, well, with school and the structure and everything. And you're right. Well, we had that structure for our entire childhood, basically. Why do you think that flies out the window for most of us?
All right, Mike, a great question, and I'm going to go deep here, right? I love psychology. I love to learn what makes people tick. Pardon the pun. For those of you that are trading, are going to get the joke. The answer is real simple. It's most people want to play. They don't want to work.
Want to play?
They want to play. You go ask a child. Look, you've got young kids. I've got young kids. Dennis, you've been around. You've raised kids, I'm assuming, and you've seen children, and you know.
I certainly have. Yeah, I have young grandchildren.
Okay, perfect. So watch this, Dennis and Mike. Go ask any child, any age, under 12. Go get a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, even ask a 12-year-old. 2 options. Look, it's summertime now. Summer just finished. Today's the first day back for my kids. I got 2 young kids, 7th grade and 3rd grade. They're going into this year. Great. All summer long. Work, play. Raise your hand. I challenge everyone listening. Get 100 kids in a room. Get 1,000 kids. Get 1,000,000 kids. Raise your hand if you want to do work. Raise your hand if you want to play. Go to the left side of the gym if you want to play, right side if you want to work. I guarantee you, without knowing the child, irrespective of their language, their race, their education, their socioeconomic background, I can go on and on and on. Their religion, it doesn't matter. Humans are humans are humans. They're all 99% of them, if not vast majority, are going to want to play. I have yet to see a child that's going to be like, please let me do work. I don't want to play. All my friends are playing outside. I'm going to stay here and do work. Doesn't happen. Well, what are adults? Adults are big kids, but we quote unquote tell ourselves we're adults. I don't know about you good gentlemen, but nobody ever took me to quote unquote adult school where I learned how to be an adult.
Yeah.
You just figure it out as you go. So, okay, if the children, think of a seed is planted, if a tree's growing sideways, it's going to keep going. So if children want to play and there is no time in life where you learn that, hey, playing is good. Most adults think playing is bad. I go the other direction. I say playing, as long as you're aware of it, you control it. Playing is really healthy. It's really good. If it's out of control and all you do all day is play and no work, think of it like a Libra scale. You're out of whack. That's not good. Where it's all play, no work. And all work, no play is not good either, in my opinion. So if you can figure out, hey, playing is good and incorporate that into your day-to-day, then all of a sudden you have that release of energy and you're not going to have Schmelf, which is the Dumb Money Beast character in my book, come in, think of it as this way. All of us have, show us the cartoon, Mike, if you can. All of us have a good side and a dumb side, smart, dumb, whatever, good, evil, whatever, any dichotomy, any way you want to talk about polarity. And here, Mike's going to show you the character. And in it, we talk about the smart money superhero, which is the best version of you, and then the dumb money beast. And the dumb money beast is the guy that goes out there and makes emotional decisions, i.e. I want to play, not rational decisions. So people buy things based on emotions and they justify it with what I call emotional logic. They don't buy things based on logic. So last time I checked, people they buy stocks. Okay, well, if you're buying things and stocks are things, a house is a thing, a car is a thing, so on, a shirt is a thing, so on and so forth. People buy things, stocks being one of them, based on emotions, not logic. And people like to play, well, riddle me that, Batman. Why do you think most people can't beat the market? Because they're playing all day, there's no structure, and they weren't even aware of any of the stuff that we're beginning to just scratch the surface on and talk about. So when you take a hard look, and I have a whole coaching program where I dive deep into this and I help people and all that kind of fun stuff, and you can see the testimonials, and that's what drives me. But when you take a hard look at your own motivations, I use that in the plural, and you look at your own behaviors, and you look at your blind spots. Ray Dalio talks about this in his great book, Principles, where we all have blind spots. We're humans. Well, where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Where are you playing where you should be working? Where are you working where so on and so forth? What's that ratio of risk to reward? Everything in my world is binary. There's polarity, risk, reward, up, down, light is on, off, win, lose, that kind of thing. Okay, great. Keep it real simple. I simplify things on purpose so a 5-year-old can understand. You buy a stock, only 3 things can happen. It goes up, it goes down, or it goes sideways. Great. I can draw that on a line, up, down, and then sideways. But when you simplify things, you get a certain level of mastery and you can understand things deeper than if you just go out there and say, oh, this is a stock, and then PE and elemental P and QRS and TU. The subconscious mind looks at it and gets scrambled eggs. Yeah. And then people don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to do the sit-ups. Look, don't take my word for it. Just look at people. Calories in versus calories out is literally the only formula you need for any weight loss program in the world. Everything boils down to calories in, calories out. Okay, great. Why are most people overweight? Simple, but not easy. It's the same thing because they want to play. And then you can go deeper and talk about consequences to your decisions and short-term consequences, long-term consequences. And most people look at the short term, they ignore the long term. In trading also, I eat the cookie right now. It feels good. That's pleasure short term. But if I do that all day, every day, it's pain long term. I go to the gym, my goofy brain or my subconscious mind thinks pain. I don't do that, push that off. And then what happens? I get long-term pain. So when you can switch it in trading as well, and you stop looking for the immediate right here, right now, dopamine hit and cortisol, the oxycontin, bum, 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 and you just slow down and you take a breath and you look at the basic, keep things real simple, the basic things that you need to get ahead, and then you align yourself with the broader trend we talk about in the book, the Great American Tailwind, like Warren Buffett talks about the American tailwind. Same thing. And then time arbitrage, intellectual. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but that Mike, I hope answers the question, and then some.
Yeah. No. So I got it brings to mind a couple of questions. Is one I can say one thing. I can vouch for Tiger Wood because I used to play at this when he was a kid, 13, 14 years old. I actually played at the same course that his father was teaching him how to play golf at.
Wow.
And this kid was just phenomenal in how he would practice and all that kind of stuff. And you're absolutely right. I mean, he would be out, and that's why he was that's why he was one of the greatest golfers of all time. He's a really amazing guy. But if traders are, and I'm going to go just a little bit deeper into we'll
please, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah.
If traders want to be playing, our people want to be playing. That's just a human nature. They want to side on the side of easy rather than the side of basically developing a skill that they can count on for life. And they're impulsive and compulsive in their trading habits. What three things would just three things. What three things would you tell them? Okay, here's how you can get out of that do loop or that trap of impulsive compulsive trading.
Yeah, it's a great question, Dennis. The real simple answer is it's one word. It's structure. It's create structure that protects you from yourself.
Okay.
Right. So you've got the superhero and you've got the dumb money beast. We call him Schmelf in my house. And the story came when my daughter was young. She was 3 or 4 years old and she didn't want to brush her teeth one night. We stayed up late watching Beauty and the Beast. And then my wife took her upstairs and all I hear is this little girl. She's, when you don't sleep enough, what happens? You get hysterical kind of a thing. And she doesn't want to brush her teeth. So I go upstairs and I make this really funny noise and say, Schmelf. And I make this stomping on an ant kind of gesture. She looks up, sees her dad doing this crazy thing. And instantly that crying, hysterical kind of not thinking straight goes from tears to laughter. It's same tears, but crying, not listening. You can't logic with somebody when they're totally possessed by that emotional.
Right on.
It doesn't matter what age they are, right? Somebody goes hysterical, just let them calm down. Okay, but you can't tell them calm down because that's just going to poke the bear even more. So it's going to get them more worked up. So what I do, I went complete opposite direction of the same coin, though, the other side of it. She starts laughing, falls on the floor, hysterical laughing, and that was it. It was over. She got back up. She brushed her teeth. We went to sleep, and so be it. Ever since then, the word schmelf has become part of our vocabulary. And whenever somebody is off, they're schmelfing. So, okay, if that's, I'm kid you not. I mean, that's literally in our house. I can call her, when she gets back from school, I can give you, she can tell you, I can say, hey, honey, I'm off, right? She'll say, oh, daddy, you're schmelfing. Or my wife would tell me, you're schmelfing. Or I tell her she's schmelfing. This way, we don't do this never butt heads. There's no ROI in butting heads, right? But hey, there's an adversarial voice or whatever the word is that you want to use. Okay, great. So to answer your question, Dennis, if you create structure, if you saw Tiger when he was a kid and you saw his work ethic, that guy had structure. He was showing up. He wasn't just winging it. He would practice very methodically with the clear purpose, and he would protect himself from his schmelf, who's the lazy guy inside of him who doesn't want to do the work. In that case, swing the golf club. In other case, we'll just use the sit-ups for the flat stomach. Doesn't want to do the sit because everyone can relate to sit-ups. Not everyone can relate with golf or tennis. So, okay, he did the sit-ups. Most people don't want to do the sit-ups. So if you create structure for yourself, guess what? All of a sudden, you're going to protect yourself from the inevitable mistakes that humans make, right? The emotional decisions, not having a good respect for risk. Part of my investment system, it's called AMPD, AMPD, and D stands for defense first. If you play good defense in this business, the offense is going to almost take care of itself. Not 100%, but you can be way ahead. Because everybody who blows up in this business, and I've been trading since the 90s, I can tell you, I've seen lots of people blow up. I've been around 2008 and the dot-com crash and so on and so forth. And I study history going way back when. And you notice they blow up for one reason. They blow up because they don't respect risk. I have yet to see somebody come into this business and only focus on the risk side of the equation. At the same time, I've seen countless people come into this with their calculator in their hand or on their phone now and saying, if I buy 1,000 shares of this or 10,000 shares of that, and it goes up just $1, I'm going to go buy a new car and then a new house and pay off my mortgage and blah, 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 blah.
Hey.
Only looking at the reward side of the equation.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that. I mean, basically I blew up 2 accounts. I blew up 2 accounts,
Me too.
And you know, because I didn't need no stinking stop losses, you know, and I was at that time I was flying with the Navy, and I, a jet jock, and I was sitting there going, I'm too brilliant. I don't need any of that kind of stuff. Look at the Navy, trust me with this $1 billion jet. So, I mean, I should be able to do any of that. In your book, you talk about the 3 essential pillars, which I as we transition into like the next aspect of this, which is they, quote unquote, control the market, and it's rigged against us. But you talk about 3 essential pillars being psychological, fundamental, and technical, right? Okay. So is there an over focus on, I'm probably asking, this is a redundant question, is why do you think most traders leave out the psychological aspect, and does that help lead them to a belief that the market's rigged against them?
So great question. Number one, thank you for your service. You're the real hero. There's the hats off to you. I mean, from the bottom of my heart type of a thing. And the answer to your question, which by the way is fantastic, it's one word, Dennis. It's hard. They leave out the psychology part because it's hard work. Nobody wants to work. Now, when you learn, I mean, nobody, not saying an absolute statement. There are some people that want to quote unquote work. Look, here's a story for you. I had a guy over my house the other day. His name is Elvis. He's from the Dominican Republic. Super nice guy in his late 20s, early 30s. I don't know exactly what, but he's working a minimum wage job. He's got a 10-year-old daughter. Super nice guy. And he's working hard, sweating in the heat. It's August in Florida. It's hot outside, so on and so forth. And I get to a liking. I start talking to the guy. And he's telling me, he's like, oh, I'm in school and I'm really frustrated because I just moved here from Dominican Republic a few years ago, whatever it was. He's got a whole story. Anyway, he's studying graphic design. So he's working hard. He's trying to provide a better life for his daughter. And he's not really making money. He's working cleaning pools. So I asked him, I said, okay, well, are you doing a high ROI activity or a low ROI activity? Explain to him what ROI meant, and then a return on investment. And he looked at it and he's like, well, I'm in school, university kind of thing, his college, whatever he's doing, technical school, whatever he's doing. And I'm studying graphic design. That's pretty good, right? It's a high. I didn't drop out. I'm not, I went past high school. I'm doing some more work. I said, you're doing a lot. He's thinking in his mind, this is very powerful. The story he's telling himself is inherently flawed. So he's thinking he's doing high ROI activities, but in reality, he's doing a very low ROI activities. Why? I asked him, I said, he was frustrated because one of his friends wouldn't buy a logo from him for $500. He said, I'll make you a logo, pay me $500. I said, Elvis, would you pay somebody $500 for a logo? He goes, no. I said, okay, Charlie Munger, rule number 1. He didn't know Charlie Munger, but I said, buy what you're selling. Before you sell something, make sure you're comfortable enough and you want to buy it. That's one. 2, I said, nobody in today's day and age is going to pay for graphic design because literally AI could do it for free. Or I can go on Fiverr or on Upwork or whatever it is and get some guy in India or Pakistan or wherever for $5 to do it. And there's no, the margin compression, there's no value. So I said, he wants money, right? So I said, it's all about, everybody wants money, 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 money. Give me, me. It's kind of like Mr. Krabs. If you watch the kids again, SpongeBob, the Mr. Krabs character is a great character. Money, 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 me. So once you stop that blindness, which blinds your brain with greed, and you just zoom out for a second, I said, it's all about giving value. So Elvis, if you want some advice that'll change your life, here you go. Learn a high ROI activity. He goes, like what? I said, here you go. You have a digital design business, right? If I were to guarantee you 10 customers right now that would pay you $1,000 for a logo, you're going to make 10 grand, but you pay me $1, would you do it? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, because there's an exchange, the polarity. Remember I said earlier, everything's binary. You're giving value. In exchange, you get money. That
Right.
people are going to do that all day long. They'll make that trade. Every decision in my mind is a trade. There's an element of risk, element of reward. So when I taught him that, I hope he does something. I don't think he will. I'll see him next week when he comes over to clean the pool. I don't think he's going to take one look at marketing and sales or some other high ROI activity, but that's okay. That's a story he's telling himself. When you understand that you're in control of the story you tell yourself, and your story most likely is inherently flawed if you're not getting the results you want, therefore you have one of two options. You either continue telling yourself that story and hope for different results, which is Einstein's definition of insanity, loco in Spanish, this guy's language, or you change the story. It's real simple. So, okay, fine. So if you change your story, what is it? Where are your blind spots? Do you have structure? So to answer your question, Dennis, which I think is brilliant, when I started trading back in the 90s, I realized there's two schools of thought. There's fundamental analysis, where you study the company, Warren Buffett, good earnings, good revenue growth, they have a moat around their business, so on and so forth. Then the other school of thought is technical analysis.
Right.
And that's where you study the stock. The stock is different from the company. You can have a good stock, lousy company, and vice versa. So I realized early on, this was back before Google was even publicly traded. Facebook did not exist. Instagram wasn't there. TikTok wasn't even an idea on a drawing board. Twitter wasn't there. So back then, I literally went to the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. to read books, because that was the Google for me at the time. And I read a bunch of books about this, that, and the other thing, out of print, all this kind of stuff. And I would go up there week after week after week, and until one day it dawned on me, like, oh, this is not enough information to beat the market, fundamental and technical analysis. It took me 25 years to write the book, Psychological Analysis, but so be it. I got it done. And that's my contribution to Wall Street. Whereas the third element, we're all looking at the same information, but what we do with that information was what separates the winners from everybody else. So you can't tell me it's a random walk or efficient market theory, and you have somebody like Warren Buffett who's beaten the market for the last 60 years, or Paul Tudor Jones, or Bill O'Neill, or the list goes on and on, or Stanley Druckenmiller, all these great legends for decades. You don't get lucky for decades. So that's kind of the contribution of psychological analysis. Those folks, Dennis, they are doing the intellectual sit-ups. The other guys, and by the way, they keep iterating, which is what I've done. I just want the truth, like Ray Dalio talks about, just go for the best. If I'm not getting the results I want, user error. There's nothing wrong with the market. There's nothing wrong with the economy. This happens to me all the time. I'm lucky if I can tie my shoes. So I bought a printer the other day. It doesn't work. The first thing you call customer service, sir, is it plugged in? Literally the same question I ask every single human. Why? Because most of the time it's user error. There's nothing wrong with the printer fresh out of the box. It's user error. So when you realize that, okay, you can keep making the same mistakes, or you can pause, reflect, and learn from them, which is the story of my life. I just want to learn and get better. And if I can get a little bit better every day over time, that compounds, which is the eighth wonder of the world, compounding, not just money, but compounding your knowledge and all that. And then the world just takes off.
Yeah. I love that from the aspect of, there was one commandment that was given to man a long time ago by the Creator. It basically says to increase and multiply. Now, we always think that's just about kids, having children and all that kind of stuff, but it's not. It basically, it was a command that was never rescinded. And that, I look at that now as a grandfather and, hopefully great grandfather at some point, is that I have a responsibility to my children, to the seventh generation, to basically show them that this is the way you increase and multiply, even when your hair is gray. I mean, that's the way I come across and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, remember, guys, you want to hang around because we're going to be talking about is it easy to trade? So, but what's the next myth, Mike, we're going to dig into?
Yeah. They, quote unquote, they control the market. Is it rigged? A lot of people tend to believe that, but I think that we kind of answered that in the psychological analysis.
Yeah, so they
that third dimension.
Yeah, who's they? That's what I want to know. Who's they?
listen, you drive by, oh, they're building a new community. Oh, the market, they came in and bought the market, or they sold the market, or I'm still trying to figure out who they are also. And by the way, Dennis, I love your point about the increase and multiply thing, knowledge, all that fun stuff. I gave a talk to my kids' school last year, and it was a career day, and everyone talks about the investing and what they
Sure.
about their career, and mine's investing. So how do you explain to a bunch of sixth graders or seventh graders what investing is? It's a very tough subject for that young mind to understand. So I did the whole presentation on compounding and said it's the eighth wonder of the world. And so showed them how if $1 compounds out at 20%, they're young. They were 12 years old at the time. Okay, by the time you retire at 65, you have 55 years of compound, whatever it was, 42 years of compounding, whatever.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. You show how the money grows, and it's just a miracle how even Warren Buffett's made more money after the age of 60 than he had the entire life before because the power of compounding.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then here's the kicker. It's not just money that compounds. Everything compounds, kids, your knowledge, your wealth, your intelligence, your relationships, your so on and so forth. And you could, like the little head emoji where the head emoji explodes on the iPhone, you could see these kids. Yeah, they were just going nuts. So that was it's an excellent point, which I fully agree.
And there's the flip side of that too, is that good decision compound, but also bad decisions compound. And that's you talk about, grab a hold of that for a while and chew on it, and you're going to go, oh, and and then sometimes the daggum bad decision, well, both of them come home to roost. That old say, the chickens come home to roost. Both bad decisions and good decisions that have compounded will come back to haunt you in the future.
So we call it in our world, we call it stacking L's or stacking W's. When you stack things on top of each other, you're stacking or stack winning things. So another big thing to help with the they concept and is it rigged and all that kind of nonsense. It's not. It's almost like someone saying there's no creative ideas. Everything's already been thought of and so on and so forth. The next thing you know, ChatGPT comes out of nowhere or some other big invention or whatever. Of course, there's still creative ideas. People that aren't creative are saying that there's no creative ideas. People that can't beat the market say there's random walk or markets are efficient, all this kind of nonsense. In my humble opinion, at least, those are my opinions. But the irrefutable, in my opinion, evidence and facts that they don't exist and it's a matter of skill and meritocracy. Yeah, I love this. Again, I'll go back to Charlie Munger. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you earn, what you deserve. I want a six-pack. I want you guys to ask me one question. How many sit-ups, Adam, did you do today?
Oh, okay.
Do I really want a six-pack?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I do want a six-pack. What are your actions aligned with your words? And the more you get personal accountability, the more empowered you become by becoming the victor and not the victim, which might be the topic for another book I'm working on here. The better your life is. The more look, I'll tell you another story. So what attracted me to markets way back when was I'm short. On a good day, I'm 5'6". Most days I'm 5'5". Okay, great. So I have a picture with me and Jim Cramer, and Cramer's actually taller than me. So I met him at the New York Stock Exchange a few years ago, and he asked me to tweet, "I'm not the animal that you think I am." So I did that. My Twitter goes crazy because his Twitter is, bonkers. And somebody said at the time there was a short Jim Cramer ETF. So somebody says, "Oh, forget short Cramer. We got a short Adam ETF." Ha ha ha! It's really funny. I mean, I'm the first guy to sit there and say that's funny. Okay, great. So you have to have a good sense of humor in life. Otherwise, what's the point? And so if I'm going to go play basketball against Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, literally, I have a 0.00001% chance of winning, 0% effective rate of 0. There's no way I'm going to beat Michael Jordan in basketball, Shaquille O'Neal, physically due to the size alone. Okay, so when I look at other sports, same thing. I love tennis. People play tennis all the time. Great. I played tennis in high school competitively. I got knocked out of one of my tournaments because the guy in front of me happened to be 6'5", and I would try to lob the ball over the net. He just smashed it right down the other side. I'm like, okay, see you later. Ain't gonna happen. But in this business, what attracted me to the business world, the entrepreneurial world, the investing world, it's a level playing field.
Right on.
Anybody can enter the arena. It's a gladiator type arena. It's very difficult. It's simple, but not easy. Notice the difference in that statement. Simple, but not easy. This is extremely difficult, but it
Yeah.
can be done if you're willing to do the work. And like Elton John's song, "I'm Still Standing." Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I can't sing. If I could, I would probably do a different
Yeah,
job.
it's okay.
But
We,
yeah,
we believe you.
Tarzan beating his chest. You know, "I'm still standing." Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
type of personality that's
Mm-hmm.
required to be successful, because this is introspection. A lot of this is looking yourself in the mirror. I always say the market's just a reflection of what's inside of you. As you upgrade the user, your results will improve.
Right on.
Period. So
Right on.
the they concept, to me, I don't buy into it personally. Could there be a they? Yeah, sure. Could we get to maybe I can grow to become 6'5" in another lifetime? I don't know. I don't know if there's a they. No one's proven it to me. So for me, I want to focus on what I can control. I can control my thoughts, my actions, so on and so forth. Okay, upgrade my user. And that's just relentless focus. Like a horse has blinders on. All I want to do all day, every day is just get better. Learn,
Right
get
on.
better. I'm going to make
Right on.
mistakes. Improve.
Right on.
Yeah.
When was it in life that you came across that and you clicked the switch? Because it's just clicking a switch. I mean, it really is clicking a switch. You know, when I was going through survival school, the guy who was out there in the field with us, basically after we'd had about 3 or 4 days worth of not eating or anything like that, and we were just about getting ready to go into the mock prisoner of war camp, is the guy comes in with a rabbit, a live rabbit, right? And so I grew up in the country. I'm used to, we used to eat rabbits all the time, but he came in and he goes, "What are you going to do?" And he basically hit the rabbit on the back of the head, killed it. And then he starts to skin it. And then he pops out one of the eyes, right? He pops out one of the eyes and goes, "Who wants to eat it?"
Yeah.
And everybody's going, "No way." And so this one guy, this big Marine, he stands up and he goes, "I'll eat it." And the guy said to everybody, he says, when you get into a survival situation, there's a little switch on the side of your head that you're going to click, and it's basically you're going to puke or you're going to eat steak.
Yeah.
And so let that eyeball be a filet mignon. And that's the way you survive. And but I tell you that story because it reminds me so much that I know somewhere in life all three of us clicked the switch. And sometimes it may have taken a little bit of a while, because I know Mike's backstory. My backstory, I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and was always trying to have the people from downtown respect me, supposedly. But that drove me. And you said that you also, similar type situation, Adam, as far as, how you grew up or starting with nothing to get where you are today?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think that the switch goes off when you just had enough, right? It's almost like an addict who hits rock bottom and they're ready to get help type of a thing.
Right.
And it comes for different people at different ages. So yeah, I overcame a lot of adversity and blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. Had some good things, childhood, bad things like most other people. Okay,
Sure.
Great. You can choose to focus on whatever you want. The cup is half full. Here's a cup. Is it half full or is it half empty? It's both. What do you want to focus on? Literally, it's up to you. So there's no rules, right or wrong. It's just, what do you want to focus on? So when I realized, I said, okay, I was in my late teens, early 20s, no money, and I was working crazy jobs. I was driving up and down. It doesn't matter. I was doing some bunch of stuff. I was in, quote unquote, emotional pain. And I asked myself, if I extrapolate this for the rest of my life and I don't change, am I going to be happy if I'm 55, 75, 85, doing the same exact thing? Because I'm working minimum wage jobs and I need an out, or I can change. It's like almost like, remember the movie Back to the Future where he goes to alternate 1985 and the doc explains to Marty what happens, and there's that line, and then the alternate 1985 where the line goes off on the chalkboard in Back to the Future too. That's literally, I had one of those moments where I just looked around. I said, okay, if I don't take massive action and change, I'm going to be in the exact same situation. It's going to be a really bad 1985 Biff and all that kind of stuff. If I change my course here, then I can have an opportunity to get better and change. So I looked around the world and I said, okay, what are the smartest, wealthiest people doing with their money? Two things. One thing, they invested. And then they invested in two places. One, stocks. Two, real estate. Well, I had no money, so I couldn't buy real estate. But at the time, online was just starting to come around, online trading and all that kind of stuff. So $100, you can open up an account. Great. I got $100. Great. Take my last paycheck, which was borderline nothing. And that was it. So I lost it all, blew up the account. And my friend had an account. He made a bunch of money. I gave him the money. He blew it up. It doubled the account, then tripled it, and then it lost it all, and then blah, blah, blah. And anyway, had the same roller coaster. Within a week, account's bankrupt. I'm in debt. Now what? I got to figure it out. That's when the proverbial seed was planted, where I was like, okay, I want to figure this out. I know I don't know. That's my biggest strength. I've got one job, learn. And then I just went on learn, read. What was the one thing I wasn't doing when I was a kid? I wasn't reading. Well, wealthy people do, and successful people, the W's, do they read? Yes. Okay. McFly, anybody home? Start reading. And then so on and so forth. So that's one thing. The other side of it too, part of that switch then is going off and switching is a absolute focus on figuring it out. So I don't know the answers here. I'm going to get out for a second and show you what I have in my office. I have this saying here.
Excuse me.
Bless you. I don't know if you can see it or not.
See, everything is
Figure outable.
figure
I
outable.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is figure outable. I don't know what the answer is, but I can figure it out.
Right on.
So once you get to that mindset of like, oh, okay, I'm going to figure it out, then you've got one job. Just learn. And it'll take time. Look, it could take 15, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. Maybe it'll happen in a week.
Yeah.
You don't know when the magic, so to speak, strikes. But if you're doing that work and it's hard work. It's not easy. Now, there's a big difference between easy playing, the inner child inside of you just wants to play and have fun, or actually growing up, or the word adulting, or whatever it is, and really taking a hard look. It doesn't matter what your age is. You can do it at 70. You can do it. I have an uncle. He just turned 82. I just spoke to him this morning, and he's calling me up. I called him up for his birthday. I do it every year. He's like, "Oh, Adam, you remember," and it means a lot to him and all that fun stuff. And he's 82. God bless him. And he's still sharp as an axe, and he's doing his stuff. And hey, because he's choosing every day to wake up and choose happy. Happiness is a choice.
Amen.
I'll show you my screen. My desktop is success is a choice. Yep. Happiness is a choice. Empowering yourself is a choice. So when you choose to be successful, you've got one job: learn how.
That's right.
You want to level up, you got to learn. So when you take that responsibility and you're no longer the victim, but you become the victor, guess what? At that stage of the game, you can learn. And then you can go find people that have walked that path. They say a wise man learns from his mistakes. A wiser man learns from other people's mistakes. So all I do every day that fuels me, because nobody was really there for me when I was getting started. I kind of had to figure it out, knock on doors, and some people helped, but it was just really rare and few and far between. It's like maybe 2 people or 3 that I could even think of. And it was me knocking on their door a gazillion times. So I had to figure it all out on my own. Now I'm in a position to help other people. What do I want to do? What gives me the most joy? Helping other people.
Yep.
Because once that light bulb goes off in their brain, even if it's just a little nudge from me, one word, that gives me more joy than any amount of money. Because at the stage of my life where I'm at now, it's, giving is, living is giving, like Tony Robbins talks about. When you get to the point where you can give and help others, the rewards compounded out, they multiply, Dennis, to use your language here, they go to infinity and beyond.
Oh, they do, without a doubt. And so, one of the things that just really strikes me, you talked about a couple of things, is one, you said they don't exist. Now, I'm going to disagree with you. Okay. I think they do exist, but they exist here in the person's own mind. Yeah. Because, even if you think about negative stuff all the time, where that takes over your whole life, that becomes the person's reality, right? So I think that they do exist, but they're a figment of they become your reality. I was going to say a figment of your imagination, but they are imagined. And then the second thing is I love the folks I work with autopilot trading, because, as you said, when one of them succeeds and lets us know about it, I celebrate with them. I make a big deal about celebrating being a winner, because I think too often getting into the realm of trading, people don't learn how to be a winner. And winning isn't necessarily having nothing but profitable trades, because you guys know we're not going that's not real. And
Mhm.
so where to from here, Mike? We're
When I'm surrounded by people that are so much more knowledgeable and experienced than I am, I tend to just shut up and listen. So I've been absorbing quite a bit from both of you guys. But Dennis, before we move on to the next myth, I just had one more follow-up question, and it was to go back to that compounding. Well, when you mentioned that Adam, that you could compound it in all these different ways, compound both the good and the bad. I'm picturing, like somebody that's in like a little rowboat, fishing boat, and they have their fishing pole out on the side, and then that compounding out over time, and then that compounding out into this giant cruise ship, which is all the good stuff, and then the fishing pole could be like an anchor.
Yes.
Right. So like you have one pulling one way, but you're anchored here. How do you break the anchor so that way your ship could start sailing across the sea?
Dennis, you want to go for it, or use that for me?
Gosh, I'm going to use a ship analogy real quick. Is basically that ships, sailboats, and all that kind of stuff are built not to be at the harbor, not to be tied up to the wharf. Matter of fact, there is damage that is done by being tied up at the wharf all the time. You get barnacles on the hull and this type of stuff. They were designed to be sailing the open ocean. And so part of the deal is, I believe, in trading in life, we're designed to sail the open ocean, guys. And so we have to basically take a step of faith, cut the line, and said, I am going. And that's what I'm still doing. I'm Adam, I don't know I'm 72 years old, and I definitely don't act like it, but I keep pushing the rock up the hill. And my wife and I, we have the adventures of Michelle and Dennis. That's what we do. I mean, seriously. And so cutting the line and just going, it's like burning the ships behind us. It's either victory or I'm going to die on the side of the hill, but at least I'm going to be climbing that hill when I die. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, no, I love that, Dennis. I think it's a brilliant way of explaining it too, because what happens when the ship just sits there idle? You're not making no progress. You're actually regressing, because
right on.
Everything else is moving forward. You're not. So you think you're just, I'm protecting myself, because again, it goes to psychology, right? Your fear, your greed. I'm scared I'm going to become successful. I have a young guy I work with. He's 25, I think now. And his biggest fear is becoming too successful. And I see him self-sabotage himself. I love this guy. I've known him since he's 18. Love him like a brother. And he just doesn't, he understands it, but he's almost paralyzed by the fear, because he was brought up in a world where rich people are evil, bad, so on and so forth. Success is shunned, and they hurt, and bad. He's got all this program you've got to work through. So that's been a journey for him. But the good news is you can overcome it. You just have to become aware of it first. What are I call them mental walls in my book. It's like, okay, you've done something, you've hit a wall. We all have. Well, okay, identify them. Take the time to write down your walls, your blocks, your whatever it is, right? What your obstacles. And then ask yourself, how are you going to handle adversity? What are you going to do with those walls going forward? How are you going to improve? And most likely, you're going to need help.
Yeah.
A coach. People have coaches. Every single professional, anything, athletes, actors, whatever, have coaches. Well, why? Is it a mistake? No, because it helps. It works. That's why. So when you're in a situation where you want to, the first step is taking responsibility, right? It's like, okay, I want to get ahead. I want to change this. I want the six-pack. Change the word six-pack for whatever it is that you want. More money, more freedom, more time. Time's our greatest and most valuable asset. We all have 24 hours in the day. What do you do with your time separates you from everybody else. Warren Buffett has 20, Elon Musk has the same 24 hours a day that we all have. What they do with their time is completely different than what the bum on the street does with their time, or whatever, the homeless person, whatever it is, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, okay, the guy who does drugs all day, it's the same amount of time, but it's so precious. And most people have a hard time enjoying it because they're living with these programs, stacking L's, to your point, Dennis, which are people are humans, are creatures of habits. So I always ask, do you have L habits or W habits? When you create those, when you acknowledge what those L habits, think of like an anchor, those L habits are holding you back. I have them. We all have them. Humans have them. Identify them. And then ask yourself, does this serve me? Do I want to continue to hold on to this weight, or am I going to drop it? And if you drop it, that's great. That's step one. Then step two is replace it with a W habit. Okay, instead of eating the cookies, maybe I should not eat the cookies. Step one. Step two, maybe I should do 10 setups a day. Not 100, not 2,000, but just do 10 setups a day for 21 days. Build that habit. It takes 21 days to build the habit. Then what? Step two, doing 15 setups or 30 setups will be much easier because you've already built that habit, and start small. And then really, really important, Mike, and you talk about this too with your work, Mike, is the why. You know, Charlie Munger's whole point about, buy whatever, make sure you're going to buy what you're selling. So have integrity, make sure you do the right thing, and so on and so forth. Do your best, but really understand your why.
Yeah.
Why do you want to get ahead? Why do you want to do the workout? Why do you want that six pack? If it's not strong, bless you. If it's not strong enough, that why, you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
and understand there's that inner child inside of you who's wounded. Humans are wounded. We all have pain, emotional pain, that is. Some have physical pains. Most have emotional pain. I have yet to meet a human that is say, oh, I'm 100% perfect. I was born perfect. I've never had a problem in my life. It just doesn't exist. So if humans have problems, humans have emotional pain, great. You don't have to stay there. You can do something to address it, to help it. If I cut my hand or my arm, what am I going to do? I'm going to put a bandage on. I'm going to go to the doctor if it's really bad. I'm going to get stitches. I'm going to treat it because it's physical pain. I can see it. It's tangible. The emotional stuff, people tend to just bury it, and they don't treat it. And then what happens? It stacks and then stacks until they self-sabotage, which is schmelf coming out, or they enter any other destructive negative pattern that can stop them from getting ahead. Look at trading. We're doing a show about trading. How many people watching, serious question, actually, I'll even go a challenge even further. I'll give $1,000 to anybody right now, if we're in a live audience, I do this all the time, and not one person can do it, that can literally tell me the strongest stock in the market right now without looking it up. $1,000 cash.
Okay, guys, you heard it. Just lay a comment in there. What is the strongest stock in the market right now?
If you Google it, you take time. There's a 3-second window here. My neighbor's daughter just got her permit, and you have to get 40 questions right. But you have to do it in a certain amount of time, so you don't Google the question. So she got the 40 questions right, but she failed the test because she took too long to answer it. So ding, 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 your window's over now. You can't sit there and Google the answer. Cool. It's shocking, and I mean shocking to me, and I made this mistake for years, that these people, these folks, want to beat the market, but they don't know the strongest stock in the market. Now, if you ask these same people, the strongest sports team in their league, if a baseball fan, Yankees are number one, or the Orioles are number one, or whatever their sport is, the 49ers, the KC Chiefs, whatever, they know their sport like there's no tomorrow.
The
money in their stocks, no idea. So how do you plan to beat the market if you don't know the strongest stocks in the market? That's part of the intellectual arbitrage that I talk about. That's the whole point of my Find Leading Stock stuff. It's okay, I want to find leading stocks. Every week I show people. I mean, Mike, for over 10 years now, you've been getting my stuff. So every week, right away, top of the list, here are the 20 strongest stocks in the market. You don't have to buy them, but at least know what they are. How do you plan to beat the market if you don't know the strongest stocks in the market? I mean, just simple common sense things. So when you do that, then you stack W's that way, and then you wait for ideal buy points, and then you do the work. You find entry points in advance before the market even opens, like Nicholas Starvis did in his great book, How I Made $2 Million Trading Stocks.
Great book.
And then, phenomenal book, which changed my life. And one of the many books that changed my life, we're humans. So if we're humans, we're going to make mistakes. The young guys that work with me, they don't address a lot of the things that they should. So I teach them how to do this, upgrade their user, right? So they make a mistake, he tries to hide. Don't do that. Do the exact opposite. Own it. Create an environment where it's okay to make mistakes. Everybody is human. Everybody's going to make a mistake. What you do with that mistake is different. Do you learn from it or do you repeat it? It's all you can do. It's binary, right? So learn from it. How do you learn from it? You got to address it. You got to deal with it. So the emotional pain, so to speak, heal it, and then you can go forward. Learn from it, grow from it, replace it with emotional pleasure. It doesn't have to be pain all the time. And just you wake up the next day with no structure. You go to the market the next day with no structure. The next week, month, year, 2 years down the road, you're still doing the exact same things, wondering why you're not getting better results. McFly, anybody home?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, Adam, that reminds me, you know, with what you said, is people having total understanding of the what their favorite sports teams and all that kind of stuff is doing, all that kind of stuff, and that kind of triggered in me the thought of the kind of like an intellectual ROI. In other words, you know, you can know things that are going to help you generate and grow wealth, or you can generate and grow things that are, well, nice to know, but you know, they may make good conversation at a cocktail party or something like that, or you know, hanging out with your bros down at the, you know, local area and all that kind of stuff, make you look, you know, smart about that, but aren't doing a daggum thing to help the trajectory of your family and all that kind of stuff. And so, hey, we're not going to let you get away though until we talk about the myth number one: trading is easy. And so let's start with, you know, let's get back here into the big one. And why do you think this myth is so pervasive? And what's the real truth behind it? And I just want to remind everybody, if you're online, we're going to put the links to Adam's book and also his service will be in the description on the YouTube channel. So we do a little bit of free advertisement for you there, Adam, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
You just need to send me that information. Sure. And but why do you, you know, and you talk about in psychological analysis, you talk about the aspect of psychological resilience. But first, before that, what about that myth? Why is it so pervasive?
All right, so it's real simple. The reason why is because it's the most alluring, most what's a good word? It's the biggest thing that people want. Get rich fast and easy. What are all the schemes when you look at the government cracking down on all these shysters and people going to jail and all this kind of nonsense? What are they doing? Get rich quick, pump and dump, Wolf of Wall Street style stuff, which always ends, just about always, I say always, but it just about always ends in prison because it's illegal, it's wrong, blah, blah, blah. What are they doing? They're prying on people's survival, their biggest, deepest desires to get rich fast, quick, and easy. Don't do any work. Hey, take this magic pill, Ozempic, and you're going to lose weight. And don't worry about the side effects. You're going to lose weight. Well, I want to lose weight. I'm taking the pill. Ding, ding, ding. You're selling something that people inherently have a lust for. Get rich quick, fast, and easy, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when you understand that, and you understand that your brain, conscious mind, and then there's a subconscious mind or unconscious mind, whatever word you want, processes information, and you're human and you have flaws just like everybody has flaws, and you have blind spots and you have strengths and you have weaknesses and so on and so forth. Right. You can ask yourself, real simple, like, all right, is my brain programmed to survive or to thrive? And that switch that we spoke about, Dennis, earlier about going on and off, the ultimate transition from an intellectual standpoint and physical too, but really intellectual, is when you understand that you don't want to just survive. You want to thrive. And then you ask yourself, what decisions, actions, mindset to your world, do I have to get into frame of mind? What actions do I have to take in order to thrive? Every human, by default, in our DNA, brain is programmed to survive. Like you said, Dennis, multiply. Like, okay, the species, we're going to procreate. Great. Right. That means you don't die. Stay alive. That's all your job is in life, is just stay alive. And then if you can procreate, great. If you can't, hey, no problem. As long as the entire species did it, hey, everyone's happy. Enjoy your life. but most people want to thrive. Okay, there comes a dichotomy now. I want a six-pack. How many sit-ups you do, Adam, today? 0. Do you really want to thrive? How many intellectual sit-ups did you do to change your life to thrive? Most people don't. Number one, they're not even aware of that dichotomy. Number two, even if they are, they don't want to do the work. Hey, take this magic pill and you're going to lose 100 pounds. I'm taking that pill all day long. NVOs and Lilly are one of the 2 strongest stocks in the market because it's weight loss. Great. Simple. That's human nature 101. Walk into a crowded theater, yell fire. What happens? People are going to run anywhere in the world, irrespective of their language, their race, their religion, their creed, their socioeconomic level, where they are in history, 500 years ago, 500 years in the future, 10,000 years ago, 10,000 years before. It doesn't matter. Humans are humans are human. Same thing. So when you understand the big wow factor is, hey, get rich quick, easy, take a pill, don't do work. I've got a magic algorithm. I've got magic AI. I've got elemental P, some pixie dust that I'll spray on you, and you get rich and you don't lift a finger. You can, unfortunately, sadly, you're going to attract a lot of people to the moth to the light. You're going to attract a lot of people to those false claims. My world, it's the exact opposite. I'm not looking to get rich fast. In fact, I tell people straight up, first thing, this is not a get rich fast program. If it is, you're in the wrong place. Leave. Bye-bye nicely, but it's not for you. I'm not doing that. It's not my business, not my world. I don't want to. The name of the book is Psychological Analysis. If it was Get Rich Fast, it would be Get Rich Fast. The word itself, psychological analysis, by definition, is going to turn off a lot of people that are looking for that quick hit of just get rich fast. But if you want to do some work in a fun, by the way, I create it in a fun way because I'm human. I know what people want. They want to have fun. I know myself. There's that inner child in all of us that wants to play and have a good time. So why not work and thrive and play and have a good time? We can do that both. It's a Venn diagram, overlapping circles. It doesn't have to be work equals pain, work equals hard, work equals bad. No. My world changed when I said, oh, work and fun can coexist.
Oh, yeah.
Work and play can coexist. Yeah. You can have a fun time and transform your life and transform the lives around others and so on and so forth. Yeah. Great. Do it. It can be fun. And you can still win. We talk about winning. It's all it is. It's winning.
Yeah.
It's all it is. It's not even the money. It's at certain stages. Like, okay, once you can separate yourself from the money comes to a large extent if you show up and do the work and have the sit-ups and the discipline, everything else over time. But when you focus on really upgrading that user, and that's it's part of the process.
Yeah, I love that. You know, that we're back on this sit-up thing. It's so funny because people come to me. You know, my wife and I do prayer ministry at our local church, and one of the things that people come up and they ask for prayer. You know, they ask for prayer all the time. You know, God needs to fix this. God needs to fix this, and it depends on the circumstances, but sometimes, especially somebody who's been repeating, coming back, God needs to fix this, God needs to fix this. And I'm going, I let him know. I said, you know what? God's not going to do your sit-ups. Ooh. And
100%.
Oftentimes they don't come back to see me after that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Because by the way, Dennis, that's a great point. That's not what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what they need to hear, but that's not what they want. Notice the difference there.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I know Mike does is I do that, and Adam, and just getting to know you a little bit right here, and in discussions with Sean the other day, is that we're all coming from that same aspect, and in reality, Mike and I've had a lot of discussions about people who come to try to join our services, and literally, I'm developing a questionnaire.
Yeah.
To add, to have people, they have to fill this out. And if they're not willing to do a couple of things, I don't want them to be a member because they're not going to do the work. In other words, and I find that the people who don't want to do the work, I'm going to be really frank and honest, they're the biggest pain in the asses because they're always asking the questions that if they would have done the study, done the reviews that I provide them on their own, they would have gotten the answers there. And they're always wondering, and they'll hang around for maybe 3 months, and they'll go, well, this isn't for me. And, I just want, but I look at their chart and I say, they haven't done any of the studies. They haven't done nothing, zero. And so they are back on their search for the holy grail of trading. And so finally, Adam and Mike, if you have jump in here with a question, but if someone who is just starting out believes trading is going to be easy, what's the most important piece of advice you would give them to set them on the right path from the very beginning?
Mike, you want to go for it?
Yeah, Mike.
Oh man, caught me off guard. I thought that you were going to do it. So
I'm happy to do it if you want.
I'm asking both of you. So go ahead, Mike. Mike, go ahead. You've been so quiet.
Yeah, I've been quiet for a little while here. So if people think that trading is going to be easy, the thing that I tell them my story because I had the same kind of belief. I had the same belief when I started out that trading is as simple as you take some money, you put it in, and more money somehow magically pops out the other side, right? The compounding, right? I thought that compounding was you just put it in and you wait, and then more comes out. And I learned the hard way when I put money in 1999, right? Like the height of the dot-com bubble. And I went and I checked it in 2002 when I graduated at the bottom of that bubble bursting. So I learned that, well, gee, compounding might not work out if you don't have a certain skill set. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't just put something in it and hope for the best. The same way as if you're the parable of the seed and the sower. That sower knew enough to not just get a bunch of seed, dump it in the pile on the field, and leave it there. Right? There's a certain minimal amount of skills that are needed in order to be successful. And that's actually what prompted me to write my book, The Trading Mind Wheel, because I didn't know any of those skills when I first started. And I learned a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit over here. And it's like, wow, let's put this into something that's digestible, that also tells the tale of woe that comes along with not knowing these skills, to say, okay, yes, I will learn it, and here's how to get started with all this kind of stuff. And if learning the skills, if that sounds too hard, right, then maybe the sound of a six-pack sounds nice, but I think I'll just go to the beer distributor down the block and get a different kind of six-pack.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, I think that's a great answer. My answer would be just know what you want most. We all have competing wants. I want the cookie. I want the six-pack. What do you want more? Yeah. So if you understand what you want the most, and then eliminate your distractions, because there's lots of distractions. Warren Buffett has a great line: know your circle of competence, and then say no to everything else. So if you know what you want most, and then what you're good at, align your actions and your everything with that goal, then all of a sudden, as you grow, you can get very successful. Takes time. Understand, profits are a function of time. Doesn't matter how fast your high frequency trading is. Profits are a function of time. Success is a function of time. Tiger Woods, you knew him, Dennis, when he was young. Took him years and years and years and years and years and years and years of disciplined focus. Michael Jordan, same thing, discipline and focus. So create that structure, know what you want most, reverse engineer it, create a plan to go out there and win, and then follow that plan. And when it doesn't work, adjust it and fix it.
Yeah. Cool. That's great. Wow. Adam, we're going to have you back, because clearly, no, seriously, in an hour and 8 minutes, we have, I feel only scratched we've got like 44 more questions to ask you, and I just don't have time. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this eye-opening discussion. We've talked about a lot of things today, and let us know what kind of things you'd like us to talk about in the future with the Trading Truths. Any other questions for Adam, just provide them. We'll forward those on to him. You can find Adam. He hangs out over on X. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn or not.
I am. So both on Twitter or X and LinkedIn, it's my name. It's Adam and then Sarhan, S-A-R, Sar, and then Han, H-A-N. So you can get me anyway there, or you can go to findleadingstocks.com or email info@findleadingstocks.com. I'm happy to help and answer any questions that you have.
And the book is, I read the summary of the book and all that kind of stuff. I want to dig a little bit deeper into your book because I really love the aspect of behavioral finance. I so much wanted to get into that today, but I haven't been able to. And then the psychological resilience. Those are some deep subjects to get into. So anyway, so let's see what else we got here. So each one of these myths can severely impact your trading journey, but with the right mindset, strategy, and commitment to continuous learning, you can overcome them. And I think both Adam, Michael, and myself, there's learning, but then there's applied learning. Learning just for itself it might be nice, may make you feel good, but it's not going to do a darn thing to help you improve your ROI. So you got to apply that knowledge, folks. Adam, I want to say thank you again for getting to know you a little bit better. And yeah, it was really awesome. Mike, thanks for inviting Adam on. And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
Adam, your friendship is one of my life's great blessings. So thanks for coming on, buddy.
Likewise, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Dennis, pleasure meeting you, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
I hope so. And so,
all right.
Aloha, guys. We're going to end the live stream. And Adam, if you'll hang on just a second.
Sure.